Most people believe ancient civilizations were primitive, limited by simple tools and basic knowledge. We imagine them struggling with stone and wood, guessing measurements, and building slowly through trial and error. But what if that belief is completely wrong? What if some ancient monuments were built with a level of precision that even modern technology struggles to explain today? Stay with this story, because once you see what ancient builders achieved without computers, lasers, or machines, the way you look at history will never be the same. And if mysteries like this fascinate you, keep watching closely. Across the world, massive stone structures stand silent, defying time, weather, and logic. These monuments were not just big, they were precise. Stones weighing tens or even hundreds of tons were cut, shaped, and placed together so perfectly that modern engineers still debate how it was done. And if this already has your attention, don't look away. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the most famous example, yet the most misunderstood. Built over 4,500 years ago, it is aligned to true north with astonishing accuracy, more accurate than many modern buildings. Each side is almost perfectly straight, and the base is level to within a tiny fraction of an inch, even with today's surveying equipment. Achieving this level of precision on such a massive scale would be extremely difficult, and yet ancient builders did it with tools historians claim were simple copper chisels and ropes. If that explanation feels incomplete, stay with this journey. Inside the pyramid, the mystery deepens. The internal chambers are aligned with incredible accuracy. The granite blocks inside weigh up to 80 tons, transported from hundreds of kilometers away. Granite is harder than iron, yet the cuts are smooth, flat, and precise, as if made with advanced machinery. Modern experiments using ancient tools fail to reproduce the same results. So the question remains, how is it really done? Move to South America, and the mystery becomes even harder to ignore. In Peru, sites like Machu Picchu and Sacsayhuaman showcase stonework so precise that a razor blade cannot fit between the blocks. No mortar was used. The stones interlock perfectly, resisting earthquakes that destroy modern buildings around them. These are not random shapes. They are carefully engineered, multi-angle stones designed to distribute force. Even today, engineers admire the design. And if ancient civilizations were truly primitive, how did they master techniques we still struggle to replicate? At Sacsayhuaman, some stones weigh over 100 tons. They were transported uphill across rough terrain, without wheels or metal tools. The stones were carved to fit together like puzzle pieces, each unique, each essential. This level of craftsmanship suggests deep mathematical understanding, advanced planning, and precise execution. And if this challenges what you were taught, stay with the story. In Egypt again, the Temple of Karnak reveals another mystery. Its massive columns are spaced and aligned with astronomical precision. Sunlight enters specific chambers only on certain days of the year, marking solstices and equinoxes. This required long-term astronomical observation and exact calculations. Ancient builders were not guessing. They were measuring the cosmos. In India, the Brihadiswarar Temple presents an engineering puzzle that still stuns modern architects. The massive granite dome at the top weighs around 80 tons, yet it sits perfectly balanced. According to traditional accounts, it was lifted using an inclined ramp stretching for kilometers. No physical evidence of such a ramp exists, and even if it did, the coordination and precision required would be extraordinary. If ancient people lacked advanced knowledge, how did they achieve this? Then there's the Iron Pillar of Delhi, standing for over 1,600 years without significant rust. Modern metallurgy struggles to recreate the exact composition that makes this possible. The pillar resists corrosion in a climate that should have destroyed it centuries ago. This suggests an advanced understanding of materials science long before modern chemistry existed. And if ancient knowledge could do this, what else have we lost? In Lebanon, the ruins of Baalbek push the mystery to its limits. The foundation stones of the temple complex include blocks weighing over 1,000 tons. These stones were cut, transported, and placed with astonishing accuracy. Modern cranes would struggle to lift them. There are no clear explanations for how ancient builders moved such massive stones, let alone position them so precisely. This is not just ancient construction. It is ancient engineering on a scale that still intimidates us. Across the oceans, Easter Island presents another unanswered question. The Moai statues weigh up to 80 tons and were transported across the island without wheels or animals. Some stand on platforms aligned with celestial events. The island's limited resources make the feat even more puzzling. And yet, the statues stand as silent proof that something remarkable happened here. What ties all these monuments together is not just size, but precision. Measurements repeat across continents. Ratios appear that match mathematical constants, like pi and phi. Alignments correspond to stars, solstices, and planetary movements. These patterns suggest a shared understanding of geometry and astronomy that historians struggle to explain. And if that idea keeps you thinking, stay with the story. Modern technology allows us to cut stone with lasers, measure with satellites, and lift with machines. Yet even today, projects of this scale face delays, errors, and failures. Ancient monuments, on the other hand, have survived earthquakes, floods, and thousands of years of erosion. This raises an uncomfortable question. Were ancient builders more advanced than we admit? Some researchers believe this knowledge was lost through catastrophe, floods, earthquakes, wars, or societal collapse. Others suggest that ancient civilizations guarded their knowledge carefully, passing it through select groups rather than written records. When those groups disappeared, the knowledge vanished with them. And if that's true, we may be living in a world built on fragments of forgotten genius. The most unsettling possibility is this. History may not be a straight line of progress. It may be a cycle of rise, mastery, collapse, and forgetting. Ancient monuments could be the echoes of civilizations that reached heights we are only now beginning to understand. And if that thought unsettles you, keep watching, because what we've explored so far is only the beginning. These monuments are not isolated mysteries. They are part of a much larger pattern that spans continents and millennia. And as we move deeper, the evidence becomes even harder to ignore. If this has already changed how you see the ancient world, stay with the series and keep watching, because what comes next pushes these mysteries even further beyond what modern science can comfortably explain. What makes these ancient monuments even more disturbing is not just how they were built, but how consistently the same impossible precision appears across completely different civilizations that supposedly had no contact with each other. Thousands of miles apart, cultures with different languages, beliefs, and environments somehow use similar measurements, alignments, and construction techniques. This is where coincidence starts to feel like an excuse, and if this idea is already pulling you deeper, keep watching closely. In Egypt, Peru, India, and Lebanon, stone blocks were not simply stacked. They were engineered. Many blocks feature perfectly flat surfaces and sharp internal angles that modern stoneworkers say are extremely difficult to achieve even with diamond-tipped tools. Under microscopic analysis, some cuts appear to be made at speeds and pressures inconsistent with hand tools. This has led some engineers to quietly admit that the official explanations feel incomplete. And if you're questioning the story you were taught, stay with this journey. One of the most overlooked mysteries is the use of vibration and sound. Ancient texts from multiple cultures describe sound as a tool, not just for communication, but for shaping matter. Legends speak of stones being lifted or softened using chants, instruments, or resonant frequencies. While this sounds mythical, modern physics confirms that vibration can influence matter at a molecular level. Acoustic levitation already exists today, though on a small scale. Could ancient builders have understood something about sound that we are only beginning to rediscover? At sites like Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, the mystery deepens further. This structure predates agriculture, writing, and metal tools, yet features massive stone pillars weighing up to 20 tons, carved with detailed reliefs. According to mainstream history, the people who built it were hunter-gatherers. But the level of organization, planning, and precision required contradicts that assumption entirely. This site forces historians to reconsider the entire timeline of human development. And if one site can rewrite history, how many others remain buried? In Japan, the Yonaguni Monument lies submerged underwater, featuring massive step platforms, straight edges, and right angles. Some claim it is natural, but many geologists disagree. The shapes resemble artificial terraces, staircases, and roads. If it was built by humans, it suggests advanced construction before the end of the last ice age, when sea levels were much lower. That would mean an advanced civilization existed far earlier than currently accepted. And if that possibility excites you, don't look away. The precision of ancient monuments is not limited to stone alone. In Central America, the Maya built cities aligned with celestial events to an astonishing degree. Their pyramids cast serpent-shaped shadows during equinoxes, a result of exact angle calculations. The Maya calendar tracked planetary cycles with more accuracy than early European calendars. This required generations of astronomical observation and mathematical modeling. These were not simple farmers watching the sky. These were scientists of the ancient world. Then there is Teotihuacan in Mexico, a city built on precise grid-aligned astronomical and magnetic markers. The materials used include mica, a mineral with insulating properties now used in modern electronics. Large sheets of mica were found buried beneath structures, placed deliberately where they could not be seen. Why include a material with no decorative purpose unless it served a function we do not fully understand? Even more unsettling is the repetition of specific numbers and ratios across monuments worldwide. The dimensions of pyramids, temples, and stone circles often encode mathematical constants. Pi appears repeatedly in circular and rectangular designs. The golden ratio shows up in proportions of structures. These are not accidental. They reflect intentional design based on advanced mathematical knowledge. And if ancient people understood this, what else did they know? Modern engineers often assume ancient builders relied on brute force and slave labor. But recent studies suggest otherwise. There is little evidence of massive slave populations at many construction sites. Instead, evidence points to skilled labor, organization, and long-term planning. This implies education systems, knowledge transfer, and engineering traditions that existed long before modern institutions. And if that challenges modern arrogance, stay with the story. Another overlooked mystery is tool marks, or the lack of them. At many sites, expected tool marks from chisels and hammers are missing. Instead, surfaces appear polished or machined. In some cases, drill holes show signs of high-speed rotation and consistent pressure. These marks resemble those made by modern drills far more than hand tools. Experiments attempting to recreate these marks using ancient methods repeatedly fail to match the originals. Transportation remains one of the biggest unanswered questions. Stones weighing tens or hundreds of tons were moved across mountains, rivers, and deserts. No wheels, no cranes, no engines. Theories range from sledges and water lubrication to lost lifting technologies. None fully explain the scale and precision achieved. And if even one of these methods required knowledge we've forgotten, it means ancient engineering was far more sophisticated than we admit. What makes this even more uncomfortable is how rarely these questions are openly discussed. Mainstream narratives often avoid these anomalies, labeling them as mysteries without pursuing deeper explanations. Funding, academic pressure, and fear of rewriting history all play a role. But ignoring evidence does not make it disappear. And if truth matters to you, keep watching. Some researchers suggest that ancient civilizations inherited knowledge from an even older source. A precursor civilization now lost may have passed down techniques through myths, symbols, and oral traditions. Flood legends appear across cultures worldwide, hinting at a shared catastrophic past. If a global collapse wiped out advanced knowledge, only fragments would remain, encoded in stone. And those fragments may be exactly what we are seeing today. Monuments that stand not just as religious or cultural symbols, but as technological fingerprints of a forgotten age. The deeper we look, the clearer it becomes that ancient builders were not guessing. They were executing designs based on precise understanding. If this part has pushed your curiosity further, stay with the series and keep watching. Because in the next part, we go even deeper into evidence that suggests ancient builders may have understood Earth itself in ways modern science is only beginning to grasp. And if you don't want to miss that, stay curious and stay subscribed. What if the greatest secret behind ancient monuments is not the stones themselves, but the planet they were built on? Because when researchers began studying where these structures were placed, not just how they were built, an even more unsettling pattern emerged. Many of the world's most precise ancient monuments sit on specific energy points of the Earth, places modern science now recognizes as geologically and electromagnetically unique. And if this idea already makes you uneasy, stay with this story. Across continents, Ancient builders repeatedly chose locations along fault lines, underground water channels, and magnetic anomalies. Today, we know these areas naturally generate electromagnetic energy. But ancient civilizations had no satellites, no sensors, no modern instruments. Yet they consistently selected these same spots. This suggests they understood Earth in a way we are only beginning to rediscover. And if that possibility intrigues you, keep watching. Take Stonehenge, for example. For centuries, it was dismissed as a primitive stone circle. But modern scans reveal that it sits on a complex network of underground geological features. The stones themselves were transported from hundreds of kilometers away, chosen not randomly, but for their acoustic and magnetic properties. When struck, some stones resonate like instruments. Experiments show sound waves travel unusually well across the site. This was not accidental. It was engineered. And if ancient people knew how to harness sound and earth energy, history becomes far more complicated. In Egypt, the placement of pyramids along the Nile is not random either. Their alignment matches not only celestial patterns, but also underground water systems. Some researchers believe the pyramids were designed to interact with Earth's natural energy fields. Internal chambers show signs of acoustic amplification. Frequencies resonate inside the Great Pyramid in ways that still puzzle physicists. And if this structure was more than a tomb, stay with the journey. Move to Central America again, and the Maya cities reveal similar patterns. Temples were built on limestone plateaus riddled with underground water channels. Cenotes, natural sinkholes, were considered sacred, but they also sit at points of strong geological activity. Entire cities were planned around these features. This suggests the Maya were not just astronomers, but geologists and engineers who understood their environment deeply. In China, the Great Pyramid Complex near Xi'an displays another layer of mystery. These massive earthen pyramids are aligned not just with cardinal directions, but with surrounding mountains and rivers in precise harmony. This reflects ancient principles that resemble modern geomancy and environmental engineering. The builders understood balance, flow, and energy in a way that modern urban planning often ignores. And if ancient wisdom outperformed modern convenience, keep watching. What becomes increasingly clear is that ancient monuments may have served multiple purposes at once. They were religious, astronomical, cultural, and possibly technological. Modern thinking tends to separate these categories, but ancient civilizations did not. For them, science and spirituality were deeply connected, and this unified approach may be exactly what allowed them to achieve such precision. Another overlooked detail is durability. Modern buildings are designed for decades. Ancient monuments were designed for eternity. The materials, shapes, and construction methods all suggest long-term thinking. Structures were built to survive earthquakes, floods, and erosion. This required deep understanding of stress, load distribution, and environmental forces. Ancient builders were not just artists, they were master engineers. Then there's the mystery of lost measurement systems. Evidence suggests ancient civilizations used standardized units of measurement long before modern systems existed. These units appear across continents with remarkable consistency. This implies shared knowledge or a common origin. How did civilizations separated by oceans develop such similar systems? And why does modern history struggle to explain it? Even more puzzling is how little written evidence remains. If ancient civilizations possess advanced knowledge, why didn't they document it clearly? One theory is that knowledge was transmitted orally or symbolically rather than through texts. Another is that catastrophic events destroyed libraries and records. Flood myths, fire legends, and collapse stories appear worldwide. If these events wiped out knowledge centers, only stone would remain. And stone does not explain itself. Modern science often dismisses these questions as speculation, yet the physical evidence remains. Stones cut too precisely, alignments too accurate, patterns too consistent. These are not myths. They are measurable facts. And ignoring them does not make them go away. Perhaps the most uncomfortable realization is this. Modern civilization may not be the peak of human achievement. We may be rediscovering knowledge rather than inventing it. Ancient monuments could be reminders of what humanity once knew and lost. And if that thought challenges everything you were taught, stay with the series. What makes this story even more unsettling is not just what ancient civilizations knew, but how suddenly that knowledge seems to vanish from the historical record. Advanced techniques appear, are used with mastery, and then disappear as if someone pressed a reset button on human progress. And if that idea already gives you chills, stay with this story. Across the ancient world, we see evidence of peak engineering followed by decline. Later generations often repaired monuments but could not replicate them. In Egypt, dynasties that came after the Pyramid Age struggled to match the precision of earlier builders. Stones were smaller, alignments less exact, and techniques simplified. This suggests the greatest knowledge existed earlier, not later. And if progress doesn't always move forward, keep watching. In Peru, later cultures reused ancient Inca stonework, but filled gaps with inferior masonry. Earthquakes repeatedly prove the difference. Ancient walls remain standing while newer additions collapse. This pattern repeats worldwide. It is as if ancient builders reached a level of mastery that was later forgotten rather than improved upon. One explanation points to catastrophic global events. Geological evidence supports massive floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and climate shift around the end of the last ice age. Entire coastlines vanished. Cities were submerged. If advanced knowledge centers existed, they may have been wiped out almost overnight. Survivors would pass down fragments through myths, rituals, and symbols rather than written records. And if ancient legends are memories rather than fiction, history becomes far more fragile. Another possibility is deliberate suppression. Knowledge grants power. Societies that control knowledge control the future. Some researchers suggest that advanced techniques were restricted to elite groups, priests, engineers, or ruling classes. When these groups collapsed, the knowledge disappeared with them. Later civilizations inherited monuments, but not the instructions. They worship what they can no longer reproduce. And if that sounds familiar, keep watching. Religious transformation may have played a role as well. As belief systems changed, old structures were repurposed or buried. Temples became churches. Sacred sites were sealed. Symbols were reinterpreted or erased. This happened across continents. Over time, the original purpose of monuments faded, leaving only mystery. And if history is written by survivors, many truths never survive at all. Modern archaeology often faces uncomfortable limits. Excavation is expensive, slow, and politically sensitive. Some discoveries challenge accepted timelines and narratives, leading to hesitation or silence. Not all evidence makes it into textbooks. This does not mean conspiracy, but it does mean caution often outweighs curiosity. And if truth matters more than comfort, stay with the story. There is also the problem of specialization. Modern science is divided into fields. Ancient knowledge was unified. Astronomy, geometry, engineering, and spirituality work together. When modern researchers analyze ancient monuments through only one lens, they may miss the full picture. Ancient builders were not thinking in categories. We are. The loss of ancient precision also raises a mirror to modern civilization. We rely heavily on technology we do not fully understand. If our systems fail, how much knowledge would survive? Would future civilizations understand our satellites, power grids, or digital archives? Or would they see ruins and wonder how we built them? This thought makes ancient collapse feel uncomfortably close. What remains undeniable is this. Ancient monuments represent knowledge applied, not guessed. They show planning across generations, deep understanding of materials, and mastery of environment. That level of achievement does not come from primitiveness. It comes from experience, experimentation, and education over long periods of time. And perhaps the most haunting realization is that we may still be standing on the edge of rediscovery. New scanning technologies continue to reveal hidden chambers, buried structures, and unexplored networks beneath ancient sites. What has already been found suggests much more remains hidden. And if even a fraction of that knowledge resurfaces, it could change how we understand our past and ourselves. If this part has pushed you to question what was lost, stay with the series and keep watching. Because in the final part, we bring everything together and ask the ultimate question: what should we do with this knowledge now? The most powerful question is not how ancient monuments were built, but why we still struggle to accept what they imply. Because once you remove assumptions and look only at evidence, a single truth becomes unavoidable. Ancient civilizations were far more capable than modern history allows. And if that realization already feels uncomfortable, stay with this story. These monuments are not isolated miracles. They form a global pattern. From Egypt to Peru, from India to Lebanon, from Europe to Asia, the same themes repeat. Precision, durability, alignment, and advanced understanding of nature. Different cultures. Same results. That alone challenges the idea of coincidence. And if patterns matter to you, keep watching. What ancient builders achieved was not luck. It was applied knowledge. Knowledge refined over generations, tested, improved, and passed on. The scale of these monuments proves long-term planning. No civilization accidentally builds something meant to last thousands of years. This was intentional. And if ancient people planned for eternity, they understood time differently than we do. Modern science often asks how, but rarely asks why. Why align monuments to stars? Why encode mathematics in stone? Why build on energy-rich locations? These choices suggest ancient monuments served purposes beyond religion or politics. They may have been centers of learning, energy, healing, or communication, functions we no longer recognize. And if ancient technology doesn't look like ours, that doesn't mean it didn't exist. One of the greatest misconceptions is equating technology with machines. Technology is applied knowledge. Ancient civilizations may have used principles we abandoned or never rediscovered. Sound, resonance, geometry, material science, and environmental harmony may have replaced engines and electricity. Different path, same destination. And if progress isn't linear, history becomes a loop, not a line. Another uncomfortable truth is this. Acknowledging ancient advancement forces us to admit loss. Loss of knowledge, loss of wisdom, loss of connection to Earth. Modern civilization excels at speed and scale, but ancient civilizations excelled at balance and longevity. Their monuments still stand while many modern structures fail within decades. That contrast should make us pause. There's also a deeper human element. Ancient builders were not superhumans or mythical beings. They were people. They observed nature closely. They experimented patiently. They respected cycles of earth and sky. Their achievements suggest a civilization that valued understanding over consumption. And if that sounds like something we've forgotten, stay with the thought. As technology advances, new discoveries continue to challenge old assumptions. Hidden chambers in pyramids, underground cities beneath temples. Precision cuts invisible to the naked eye. Every discovery adds pressure to outdated explanations. History is not settled. It is evolving. And if truth excites you more than comfort, stay curious. The irony is impossible to ignore. We search the future for innovation while standing on evidence of forgotten mastery. Ancient monuments are not reminders of ignorance. They are warnings against arrogance. They tell us that intelligence is not exclusive to modern times. It rises, it falls, and sometimes it disappears. One day, our own cities may become the same mystery. Future civilizations may examine our ruins and debate how we built them. They may misunderstand us, just as we misunderstand the past. And that realization should humble us more than it reassures us. Ancient monuments are not asking to be worshipped. They are asking to be understood. They challenge us to question timelines, redefine progress, and reconsider what it truly means to be advanced. And once you see them that way, history stops being distant. It becomes personal. If this series has changed how you see the ancient world, stay connected, keep exploring, and subscribe for more hidden truths, because the past is not gone. It is waiting to be remembered.